I am no fan. And I know I speculate relatively often, and I will sometimes say things like, this is what seems probable to me, but usually it's based off a bunch of evidence. I don't like whatever the conspiracy theory is. Present evidence. We can speculate on the evidence. However, what we're seeing right now is one of the most absurd and insane things I have ever seen. Oregon Democratic lawmaker chains himself to a mailbox in order to defend it from Trump. They're not getting this one. He didn't really chain himself to it. You can see he just threw the chain over himself. This is paranoid and unhinged delusions. Nobody is stealing mailboxes. There's no conspiracy to destroy the post office. These people have lost their minds. And you know what? Nothing's being done about it. Now, I don't necessarily think anything should be done about it, but I'm just bringing this up because it's a double standard. Social media will ban any conservative. You step on a twig and they jump out at you. Oh, you broke a twig. Boom, you're suspended, gone, banned from the internet. These people can literally come out and film videos of themselves chaining themselves to mailboxes like lunatics, and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and the media. They say nothing. They don't care. They say, oh, but it's because Trump is bad, because the orange man is stealing mailboxes. He's not. They're just nuts. From The Blaze, they say a Democratic U.S. congressman from Oregon has posted a video online of himself chained to a mailbox in an apparent display of defiance against the Trump administration's proposed changes to the U.S. Postal Office. What are the details? Rep. Peter DeFazio has been in a social media tirade in recent days claiming that President Donald Trump is intentionally trying to destroy the U.S. Post Office to steal the election, and insisting to his followers that we can't let it stand. These postal justice warriors. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you think Trump's doing it, how about all of you just go and chain yourself to mailboxes, huh? I'm kidding. Please don't do that. On Tuesday, the Oregon Democrat posted a video to his Twitter feed showing a sparkling new chain loosely draped over his shoulder and wrapped around a public mailbox, which he declares, they're not getting this one. The message accompanying the post read, they're trying to tear apart our postal service piece by piece, but Peter DeFazio is defending our right to vote. Do these people self-reflect ever? Do they not look at photos of themselves? They're insane. I kid you not. This is unhinged paranoia. The fact that DeFazio is clearly not chained to the mailbox indicates his video is part of a political stunt, but it also serves as evidence of the hysteria going on by some Democrats about proposed changes to the Postal Service. The USPS has acknowledged it is experiencing a staggering loss of mail volume since COVID-19 hit. In the meantime, President Trump has condemned the widespread utilization of mail-in voting for the November general election, while his administration has proposed cost-saving measures for the Postal Service. Some prominent Democrats have painted the changes as an attempt by the president to suppress voting, with former Democratic Vice President Al Gore even saying, by tampering with the Postal Service, Trump is in effect putting his knee on the neck of American democracy and trying to make it impossible for people to vote by mail. The comment was interpreted by many to be a reference to the death of George Floyd. Yes, we get it. That's obvious. Before Gore's remarks, Jamie Lee Curtis suggested there was a conspiracy to steal the election when she saw a mail truck on the bed of a red tow truck, and the driver purportedly had on a red cap with white letters. But Trump appointed Postmaster General Louis DeJoy attempted to put minds at ease hours before DeFazio's display was posted on Tuesday, announcing in a statement that the planned operational changes will be put on hold, saying, I came to the Postal Service to make changes to secure the success of this organization and its long-term sustainability. I believe significant reforms are essential to that objective, and work toward those reforms will commence after the election. In the meantime, there are some long-standing operational initiatives, efforts that predate my arrival at the post office, that have been raised as areas of concern as the nation prepares to hold an election in the midst of a devastating pandemic. To avoid even the appearance of any impact on election mail, I am suspending these initiatives until after the election is concluded. The Democrats and the left have just hurt themselves, okay? The reason why they're removing and relocating mailboxes is because many of them are underserved, making it very difficult for postal carriers to go to all of these mailboxes to pick up the mail when there is relatively none. A massive waste of time, energy, and money. And the post office needs money. So removing the mailboxes would save them money. Okay, fine. Now what's going to happen is that there's going to be underutilized mailboxes with nothing in them, and it's going to cost way more, and it's going to take way more time. Perhaps that was the 4D chess move. Okay, we'll leave the dummy mailboxes. And what's going to happen then is people are going to vote in these areas. Their ballots will not make it in time, and their votes won't be counted. They say DeJoy is scheduled to testify before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee on Friday, and the Democrat-led House Oversight Committee on Monday. You want to know why the whole thing is just so dumb? Donald Trump doesn't need to go after mailboxes or the Postal Service. He's quite literally suing over mail-in voting. Okay, fine. The Democrats will probably argue, well, Trump's just doing a twofold approach where he has a conspiracy to destroy the mailbox, the post office, and also sue. No, man, Donald Trump is suing. Okay, he's suing over mail-in voting. He's suing New Jersey. I guess he's suing Nevada or whatever. The point is, Donald Trump is taking a conventional approach. There's no grand conspiracy. Just stop. But I guess it's funny, right? To look at the unhinged left and just laugh about it. I'd laugh if it wasn't so creepy. Here's what Trump is actually doing. There's no conspiracy. He's not stealing your mailboxes. The photos, many of them are old and many are fake. But of course, they eat this up. No, what Trump is really doing is he's just filing legal action. It's boring. It's boring and normal. The Trump campaign on Tuesday from the Hill filed a lawsuit against New Jersey after Governor Phil Murphy issued an executive order requiring every voter in the state receive a mail-in ballot, in addition to being allowed to vote in person if desired, as a safety precaution during the coronavirus pandemic. The lawsuit obtained by Reuters was filed in the U.S. District Court for New Jersey to invalidate Executive Order 177. The campaign claims that Murphy appropriated power that belongs to the New Jersey state legislature when he overhauled the state's election law, alleging he violated both the Elections Clause and the Electors Clause of the U.S. Constitution. It also accuses Murphy of violating the 14th Amendment. Justin Clark, Trump's deputy campaign manager, wrote in an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal that New Jersey residents who want to vote in person face a real threat that their ballots won't be counted. I live in New Jersey. I want to vote in person. I do not want a mail-in ballot because I am concerned about the security of the ballot, and I don't want to give my ballot to a postal worker who's part of a union that endorsed Joe Biden. Yet the governor of my state is now forcing this upon us? No, I'll say this. Thank you, Donald Trump, for suing to stop this. Where I vote is extremely close to where I live. I could walk there in only a few minutes, and I would much prefer to bring my ballot in, go there in person, fill it out in person, and have some security on the election here in New Jersey. Of course, the governor here is a lunatic. I'm leaving this state. Phil Murphy's nuts. Clark links to a 2016 investigation by the New Jersey outlet Ashbury Park Press that found 2,460 voters on the rolls who had been dead for at least 5 years, only 60 of whom had apparently cast votes after they died. The same investigation, however, found that those votes were likely counted due to clerical errors rather than fraud, and no election outcomes were changed because of it. It doesn't matter if they're changed. Don't let it happen. There are some elections, local elections, in just over the river, a few minutes away, where people have had some of these elections were swung by like only a few dozen votes. So don't tolerate even clerical errors. They say all this shows how the state voting rolls have many more names than live voters, but voting records show there is no apparent intentional fraud. I don't care if there's intentional fraud. I care if you make a mistake and give the election to someone else. That's actually the clever way to do it. Pretend your fraud was a flaw. Just say it was an accident. It was a clerical error. Give yourself plausible deniability and say, oopsie. That way, when you cheat the election, you get caught. Nobody goes to jail on your side, right? Murphy announced last week the Garden State will vote primarily by mail-in ballots in November, largely due to the pandemic. All 6.3 million of the state's registered voters will receive a mail-in ballot to vote with on November 3rd. A number of polling stations will still be open for residents who want to cast their ballots in person. The governor said on Sunday that his administration would extend the deadline for mail-in votes to be counted, provided they are postmarked by Election Day. The Hill has reached out to Murphy's office for comment. The Trump campaign has filed a similar lawsuit against Nevada. However, unlike Murphy's executive order, lawmakers in Nevada passed a bill along party lines aimed at expanding mail-in voting before the November general election. I am sickened and livid about this. Do not change the rules months out from an election. New Jersey is a horrible, awful state run by a lunatic. So I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. You know what? Maybe I should stay and vote, I guess, but for a lot of reasons, I'm leaving the area. So I'm not going to stick around and stay in New Jersey. Phil Murphy is a terrible governor, but you know what? If the people want to vote for him and he's who gets elected to office, then so be it. I firmly believe if I don't like it and the people of New Jersey do, well, then I am free to go. And with all due respect to the governor and to the politicians of the state, if that's what the people want, so be it. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go somewhere else, and that's what we do in this country, right? Maybe the people of this state will change their minds and vote for somebody else. Maybe then I'll come back. We'll see, but probably not. And that's the way it is. But let me just wrap up by saying this is what Trump is really doing. It's boring. It's a lawsuit, not a conspiracy. But they're not going to stop. They're going to chain themselves to mailboxes, whatever. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.